who we got on the line? This is Kicking It with Donna Ro. Who we got here?
This is Rasheen Kilo Pugh, brother.
Told you. Told you. Told you.
What's happening?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
Hey, it's all good. I try to be on time.
Hold on, these people want to clap, man. We don't take away no applause. You need that. You got a Grammy, brother. You got a Grammy. We made it.
Right. He's out there doing his thing.
Oh, man. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing all right,
we
man.
Doing good.
Doing good. I was
What's
looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. So, man, I heard Donna been telling me all about you. I'm like, listen, you made me listen to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill again today. You know, I hadn't listened to that in a long time, but I went and listened to it today. So I gotta say thank you. I gotta say thank you, man.
Oh man, that's great, man. I'm glad you like it. Look, I mean that is truly part of our legacy. We were all proud of that.
No doubt.
Oh,
no doubt.
Wow.
Where you from?
Wow.
I'm from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
City.
Uh-oh. Look at that. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Ro, that's you.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not stepping up.
That's where you from?
Nah, actually, I'm from Long Island, but I live in Jersey now. Actually, I live in Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but
I miss Jersey.
Yeah, no doubt.
It costs $1 million to live there now.
Yeah. It costs $1 million or your life, one or the other. It depends on where you at.
Oh my gosh.
Right. You are right.
Oh man. So starting off, man, anything with this whole music. How you get into writing music? Like, how did that start?
Woo-wee. Oh, you took it back there. Well, you figure I was one of those little kids with the little radio and the cassette and trying to mix from cassette to cassette. DJ Red Alert was on the airwaves.
Yes, indeed.
To the old rappers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted everybody. I was like everybody else, wanted to be LL Cool J and all the big guys, and started rapping, and became a little good in the neighborhood, and did the little battles on the street. And you know how you had the older cats, the older cats from the neighborhood, and be like, "Yo, you gotta hear my little man rap. You gotta hear him rap." And we rapped, and we kept rapping as we got older, and when we got 20, I think we got 21. I believe we got our record deal with Quincy Jones on Quest Records, Quest Warner Brothers. Rap group called OCM. They were OCM, Organized Criminal Minds. We had a video.
Man, I remember y'all, man.
You remember?
Yeah. Oh, you killing me here. Oh, incredible.
So we had a video called Watch How You Swing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually still on YouTube. It's still on YouTube. And so matter of fact, somebody hit me on Facebook and said, "Is this the same Kilo from the rap group?" And he sent me an email showing one of our cassettes selling for $300 on eBay.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I said, that's crazy. Wow. It actually showed me the whole sales receipt and everything.
Wow.
And so we had the record deal, and we had that, and we did tours. We went all across the country, signed Quincy Jones, and then his record label folded. Mm-hmm. Quest Records went down, and we stayed cool with Shakim and all of them from Flavor Unit. I was actually an original member of the Flavor Unit before Queen Latifah.
Oh man!
I was 15 years old, signed to Mark 45 King. He started the Flavor Unit.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
He started the Flavor Unit, and I was signed to him. I was signed to his company. Yep. I used to go down there with Apache and Lati and all of them, and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna fast forward. So after we had the record deal, when the label collapsed, we were still trying to do something musically. So we had an opportunity to do a Pepsi commercial. Shakim brought it to our table. Said, "Hey, y'all want to do a Pepsi commercial?" We had a song on our album. It was when we used the Tupac sample. "I don't want it if it's that easy." And I would sing on it, I don't want it if it's that easy. And we switched it to I don't want it if it ain't Pepsi. And it was all over the country. And I mean, that was our first big check. We made $80,000.
Wow.
So imagine being 21,
and making 80,000.
Splitting 80,000 with your homeboy, like, yes. It was like, we made it.
No doubt.
So that was like a heck of a moment for us. We still didn't have a record deal at that time, but we kept doing music. A friend of mine was in Tame. I'm sure you probably heard of the group, The Artifacts.
Yes, remember that.
They had a couple songs out. Well, Tame was in the video of the Fugees. You know the one they go bum 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 bum. Cheaper y'all. That joint. He was in the
Mona
video
Lisa.
with them. Yes. He was in the video with them. Now at that time, my cousin had a liquor store on Clinton Avenue. We used to all go to the liquor store and just hang out at the liquor store. A team used to come over there and hang out with us. So one day he came over, and I said, yo, man, don't get this dude no liquor until he give me that girl number. And he was like, what number? I was like, that girl in that video. And he was like, who you talking about? L? I was like, yes. I was in love with Lauren from the gate. I was like, man, hook me up. So he called Lauren on the phone. He was like, yeah, this guy, they don't want the brothers and blah, 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 and all that good stuff. And me and Lauren actually started hanging out. And we would just go to, like, IHOP all the time, go to New York with her, different meetings, and we just really hung out. And
that was your girl? That was your girl?
No. I was trying to be that guy, but I never had that chance. I didn't get the chance. But we were still hanging every day. And matter of fact, we hung out one time, and when she told me, she was like, a lot going on, I like you, but I can't do all that. I just stopped calling. I was like, all right, forget you then. You know what I'm saying? But she called me a couple weeks later and said, I know what you're trying to do. You ain't calling me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm on the phone like, what are you talking about? And she said something that I never forget.
What's that?
She said, I value your friendship. Now, I'm in my 20s. Like, what are you talking about? Like
That sounded like I'm about the little brother you.
It was like there's no... I had never had a female friend before. It was like either you're dating the female or the female don't exist, unless you're your sister or your cousin or something. So it really threw me off my game. I was like, huh? What is that? What is a female friend? What is that? So I tried it. So we stayed in contact, and she would call me when she went on the road. She went on tour. She would call me every time she came back from the States, and they was on tour with the score. And then one day I heard Whitney Williams say, oh, Lauryn Hill is pregnant. You know my phone blew up. Everybody was calling my phone. They was calling my phone thinking I had her pregnant. They was like, Kilo,
they thought she was the baby daddy.
Yeah, they was like, Kilo, I saw you in the hood with her. I saw you with her every day. I was like, dude, we never had sex. We never got down like that. That's not my thing.
I would have lied.
You know what I'm saying? I would have lied.
Instead of baby was one, I would say, yeah, that's mine. That's me.
Oh, man. But when I called her, when I saw that, when I heard that on the radio, I just called her like, yo, you pregnant? She was like, Kilo, what's up? Come see me, blah, blah, blah. So I went over there. I'm sitting there looking at her big belly, and she talking, and then she starts to tell me, the Fugees having problems, might be breaking up. And then she said those magic words, I'm thinking about doing my own solo album.
And you maneuvered right there. I love it. I
said, word? She was like, yeah, I'm looking for somebody to do tracks. I was my partner, my rap partner. He do tracks. I need somebody to play keys. And at that time, my partner had these twins, that lived in his apartment with him. One played the keys, one played the guitar. I left Lauren House, came back within 30 minutes. We were all sitting there just vibing, listening to music. He was like, yo, let's try to work together. Yeah, and
wow.
And somebody, I think it was Clyde David, came to her and said, I want you to do 5 different songs for 5 different artists. So one was this girl, andMORE. She's a real dope songwriter. Then one was Aretha Franklin, A Rose is a Rose. So we did that with her. We did A Rose is a Rose with her. We did a song with CeCe Winans called On That Day.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the package. So then she was getting ready to do Whitney Houston, and she had to do this rock group. It was an all-female rock group called Edith Wish.
Mm-hmm.
So she created this song for Edith Wish, and when we was in the studio, some of her label people came in the studio just listening, and they just stopped the session. They was like, Lauren, straight up, forget Edith Wish. You need to do your album. This is your song. Don't sell it. And that song was X Factor.
Wow.
Yeah, that song jumped the whole album off. It jumped it off.
And you wrote that joint?
I co-wrote it. Everything I did, I co-wrote with her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because, she's, it's kind of like when you see Denzel in a movie,
mm-hmm.
you got that person standing there holding that camera, and the other
mm-hmm.
person holding that mic. The person did his makeup, somebody cut his hair. A whole bunch of people made that person look good.
Oh, wow.
I was one of the people that made Lauren look good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So what those checks was like, though, man? What those checks was like?
Oh, those checks are ridiculous. Those checks, let me tell you something. Those checks are life-changing checks. You talking about some brothers that was, how old was I when we got our first check from them? Well, I don't know if you know, but we went through a whole lawsuit over the album.
Okay, I remember that.
Lawsuit. Yeah, we went through a whole lawsuit because, as we got closer to the end of the album, some of her old friends came around, and some people don't really know your history. So if you come in the studio and here's Lauren, and then all of a sudden here's these other 4 or 5 guys sitting around,
mm-hmm.
If you don't know that I'm previously out of a record contract with Warner Brothers and know a whole bunch of people in the industry, and because you don't know I had a single on the radio and I did a Pepsi commercial, you almost think I'm nobody. So you would advise this girl to treat these guys like they're nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know who they really are. So when you try to jerk us, we're connected to the industry too.
Mm-hmm.
So the same lawyer that's one of the biggest attorneys in the whole industry right now, Londell McMillan,
mm-hmm.
who dates the girl who runs BET, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And did the $100 million Def Jam deal and represent Wesley Snipes and all these other people. This is the same guy who was just in the studio with us listening to our album as our friend. You see what I'm saying? So it made the whole thing interesting because she expected us to just bow down and take it, But getting back to the check, I mean, it's public record at this point. It shows that every member had a check for $1.3 million.
Oh, wow.
So we all instantly became millionaires from the gate, and we were young.
Nice. And moved the hell out of Newark.
And we drove Ferraris and Bentleys and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and we lived a life. We lived a life that some people thought we couldn't. We would never. I remember being in the studio, and Rohan was, her ex or whatever. I was looking at the magazine, DuPont Registry and the Rob Report.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to look at all of these cars and Bentleys and, you got a dream. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this guy stood over me and said, man, you'll never be able to afford that. I said, what? They're going to tell me what I'm going to be able to afford. He's like, you'll never be able to afford that. And guess who? Guess who the first person I called when I got my Bentley? I said, hey, Ro.
Yeah.
And then we was all in a lawsuit, too. And I said, hey, Ro, what's up? He's like, Kilo, what's up, Kilo? I said, guess what I'm driving, Ro? What you driving? A Bentley. That's right.
And that was that was pre-Instagram days, because now you post that thing on Instagram and just let them soak it in, right?
Exactly. But you know, I think that when you give a person something and they don't have knowledge of things, they're gonna burn it. They're gonna burn right through it. It's so many. I got so many friends that's been in this music industry that was millionaires. I got friends that dated Mary J. Blige. He wrote the song 7 Days. I mean, guys that had money out the wazoo, but if you see them right now today, they ain't broke. You know, they not broke.
I know that, friend.
You know what I'm saying? So they not broke, but you say to yourself, dang, where was the people to help you with this money, help you, give you the knowledge of what to do? Because sometimes we get the knowledge and it's way later on. You know what I mean? Later on down the line, you know. But what you gonna do? You got to get educated. So that's why today, in today's time, I spend a lot of time teaching the youth about money, teaching the youth about dreams, teaching the youth about don't give up, don't let nobody tell you what you can't have. You know, and keep going. I dedicate a part of my life to that.
Which leads us to this next thing that Donna's been telling me about. You got a movie. You got a movie now. Now you're stepping on that screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, and you know what's so funny? The funny part about coming to that movie, I was working with an artist by the name of Denalja James a couple years ago. I'm going to say maybe 2.5 years ago, right? And we were getting ready to shoot her video called Stilettos Rockin'. And this I'm going to call her videographer. I ain't going to say her name. But she said she's coming to shoot the video for us. And 3 days to the video, 3 days coming to the video, while we had venues already booked, we had outfits coming, we had all kinds of things happening. Canceled on us. So I talked to my partner, Valerie, and I said, Val, we might need to buy us a camera and learn how to do this ourselves.
That's how it starts.
We got to do something. We can't go out like this. We can't cancel this video. So Val was like, you're right. Let's make it happen. We got that camera. I called a friend of mine that I had met when I went speaking at A&T. I met a bunch of students, and some of the students were into the film. They were into filming and videography and everything. So I called one of the students and I said, hey, man, if you come help me shoot this video, man, I'll help you promote and market anything you're doing. I'll be right behind you. I'll rock with you. He came over there. He held that camera. He showed me how to do it. He gave me the pointers. Said, this is overexposed. This is right. This is just perfect. He gave me all the little tips, and I was a good student. And we got that one video done. Our next video, I shot it basically on my own and edited on my own for the first time. And then we did a third video, and it was like, oh snap, I know how to shoot a video. So I started shooting a few. So then I said, let me jump out there a little bit, and I did a documentary because the whole movement was called Stiletto Ladies. I Stand Tall for women that overcome different adversities, domestic violence, all kinds of stuff. So we did a documentary called I Stand Tall, the making of the Stiletto Ladies, and that's on YouTube right now. So did that documentary, but it was really, I still didn't know all the ins and outs about no movie or anything. That was just basically like interviews stuck together, different interviews stuck together, and I sliced the videos that we had shot previously in it to make it the length of a film. So a friend of mine came from Jersey and said, I got a movie idea. I saw your videos, and I think you could do it. And I said, well, I don't know. I ain't never shot no movie before. So he said, well, I believe in you, and I believe that you can do it. So I said, well, let me try something. I said, I'm going to get back to you, but I'll do your movie, but I got to do something else first so I can get the kinks out. I got to learn how to do it. I don't know nothing about a movie. So I sat there and watched all these YouTubes, got the book, The Filmmaking for Dummies, sat over there in the bookstore. I sat there, I asked different people that I knew that shot film, asked them 1,000 questions, and I really did the homework. So I wrote up this, not even a full script. I just wrote up the shots to a storyline. I just made up a story and wrote it in shots. I said, I ain't going to write dialogue for everybody to say every word, but I'm going to just tell them the scenario and just let them improv, improvisation going. Man, and we tried it. We tried it, and I made mistakes, and we corrected mistakes. And who knew the impact that this film would make? And that was, I called up a friend of mine, Morgan. I know she was a teacher in this middle school. I made the story about these middle school kids, and we put this doggone thing together. I got my partner, Val. I got my investor, D. Michelle, that came in too, and we made this thing happen with little or nothing. And the message in the movie is so impactful. I mean, who knew? I was just trying to learn how to shoot a movie. I was trying to learn because I was preparing for his movie. And then what's so funny is after It Takes a Village was done, come to find out, I ain't even doing his movie. He ain't even doing his movie. You know what I'm saying? So it was destined to be exactly what it was. And we're moving forward on that. And I really enjoy it. I mean, it was a challenge, but I like challenges. I didn't even know I liked challenges like that. Wow. Most of my career was me being a songwriter and my partner doing the music. So it was always, I only had to deal with one other person, him. He only had to deal with one other person, that was me. And all I needed was my pen and my micro cassette recorder, and I was going in. So when I came down south, it put me in a different position. Started Save the Arts Foundation, and I had to become a leader. I had to become somebody who get along with other people and how to problem solve. We recognized I had some kind of purpose. Recognized I had, I liked art more than I knew. And I think because of the lawsuit, because of doing something for almost a whole year, because we worked on the Miseducation for 9 months. But to go through 3 years after doing that album of a lawsuit, that thing lasted 3 years. And to watch the girl walk on stage, get her Grammys, watch all this, and we had to fight for our stuff. Everything we got, we had to fight for. But to look at that, it was like, man, I'm not being recognized. That's a crazy feeling to do some work and not be recognized. So I created the Save the Arts Awards. It's the first award show in the world to award painters, sculptors, architects, and photographers. Now, why? Why did I do that? Because here were some people, some of the most creative people in the world. Like, you can't walk in a building that wasn't drawn by an architect first. You get what I'm saying? It was sculpted and molded. It was a little mold. It was a little mold at first, so they sculpted it first. Then they did the architect and did that. And then the building is not complete until they put the paintings on the walls. From the different artists, they design everything, decorate everything. But these people had never been acknowledged. So I said, dang, if I've never been acknowledged on one project, I wonder how these people feel who've never been acknowledged. So I said, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, and I'm going to acknowledge them. And who knew that it was a whole world of people out there that was under this arts category who had never been acknowledged. And they started coming out, and the show, I think that the show is going to be, it is the greatest show on earth. But I think it's going to get bigger and better.
So when did you first? When did you first start doing the awards for the arts?
The first show was in 2010 at the Carolina Theater right here in Greensboro.
Wow!
And we had people came from all over. They came from all over the country. Wow! And I mean,
how many
we had about.
How many have you done so far?
2. I only did 2. I did one in 2010, and I just did one in 2013.
Wow!
And the show, to show you the difference in the elevation of it, the first show, I was begging artists, come on out. I'm doing this for y'all. You know what I mean? I designed the award. I drew it on a piece of paper. I paid $7,000 to get these awards made. And that was only for 20 of them.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I spent $48,000 total to do that show. To throw this show. $48,000 that you ain't never gonna get back. You know you ain't gonna recoup on the first show. Because you're giving tickets away. You're trying to make it big. So I invested. That was a Porsche, bro. That's Porsche money. You know what I'm saying? You know, but it was like, let's do it. If I'm gonna ever do it, I'm ever gonna try it now. And some of the I remember going to different art shows and being with people who knew a lot more about art than me. And when they would walk by certain people and they'd be like, ooh, that's Charles Bibbs. And I'd go, who? That's Charles Bibbs. That's like, and they would break it down to me. They would be like, yo, you don't understand. Charles Bibbs, he don't pay for a booth. They pay him to come to these art shows. Blah, blah, blah. You know, and they break it down. Oh, that's like Pancho Brown. That's LaShawn Bill right there. Oh, that's Annie Lee right there. She make all the figurines. She's this, she's that. And I'm sitting here like, wow. And I'm like, this is a whole nother world. And then I'm sitting there, and I say, well, how much do you think this person make in these 3 days? Oh, that brother right there made $60,000. Oh, that brother right. I said, wait a minute, this weekend? They said, yeah, this weekend. I said, what? That brother right there just sold a painting for $25,000. I said, huh? And nobody really know who these people are, and these guys are rock stars in their own world. Rock stars in their own world. I was like, oh, my gosh, I got to acknowledge these guys. And when I got one big person to confirm that they were coming, it happened like a dominoes effect because they all knew each other. So it was like one was calling the other one to verify. Hey, you heard about this? Yeah, you going? Yeah, I'm going. You going? I'm going too. And it was just a domino effect. And then one of the reasons that I wanted to do a certain way, one way was to acknowledge these artists, these visual artists, but at the same time, I wanted to bridge the gap between the African American artists and the white artists, because a lot of African American artists complain about the value of their work they will never have the prices of this person here that's Caucasian or a different nationality. His price is $25,000 when the African American price is $5,000. So I said, well, the only way you're going to increase the value of your paintings is if you get your paintings inside those facilities. And the only way you're going to get in those facilities is if you meet that person and shake a hand and have a conversation. A lot of African Americans are not going to the Caucasians gallery and knock on the door and say, can I get in here? Because if they look through the window, it looks like they don't belong just by looking at the art on the wall. Right. But if you build the bridge and you create the friendship, that's what the Save the Arts Awards was doing. Right. I had a Lifetime Achievement Award, went to Annie Lee, who was 83 years old, who's been doing art for over 50-something years. She makes paintings, and she turns her paintings into figurines. Some of the most famous figurines on the planet. Every other household has a figurine, at least one of them, with the ladies dancing in the church or the ladies fanning themselves, the little figurines. You've seen them before. You know what I'm saying? They're all over the place. And then I acknowledge another woman, Lynn Petard. Lynn Petard, I believe, is either 60-something or 70-something years old. She used to be on Channel 13 teaching us how to paint on TV. Wow. So I put both of these women on this stage and gave them Lifetime Achievement Awards, and it was huge. It was huge. Wow. But then the next year was more interesting. 2013 was more interesting. The only reason why I say it was more interesting because the artists, the caliber of artists changed. It changed a little bit now. The reason why is because some of these people were clear millionaires. Clear millionaires. I ain't talking about some, I think that person is a millionaire because their stuff is everywhere. No, it's evident that person is a millionaire. When I asked one person, I asked her, she was Carol Fuhrman is a hyper-realist sculptor. What is that? giant-sized It's a giant-sized sculpted piece that looks
made out of ice.
No, it looks like skin. It looks real. It could be big as a car, but it looks like a person. It looks like real hair. It looks like skin, but it's actually a sculpted piece. If you type it in later on, type in hyper-realist sculpture, and you'll be like amazed. It's amazing. I asked her. I said, what's the lowest price piece that you have? She said, it's about maybe a foot tall and $15,000. I said, so what's the most you ever been commissioned? She said, actually, I got a commission right now for $900-something thousand.
Wow.
I said, sheesh, one piece. That's
one piece.
And she told me at the end of the show, when we were at the reception hall, she said, a lot of people, and she was telling other people at the table, she said, a lot of my people told me don't come to this event because this event is, they didn't hear of it. They don't know who's giving it. They just can't, qualify what this is. Who is this? Where did it come from? And she said, no, I want to go. They called me personally. They sent me a letter. They told me to come. I came. A limo picked me up, took me to this beautiful J.H. Adams Hotel in High Point where it looks like a mansion, and they had these rooms. And then they came to the beautiful High Point University, which was number 3 in business across the whole country. That's how big that college is, but people don't even know. You know what I mean? And they came and they gave us the theater. The theater was a replica of this theater overseas. This theater that we were in cost over $2-something million to build. And it's a replica of a big theater that one of the queens and them go to overseas. I don't even know all the details, but they told us when we came in there to rent the place that this is a replica of the such and such theater. And we were like, really? And let me tell you something. Every person that came, the black woman, 1 out of 8 African-American female architects, Dinah Griffin from Chicago, who was on Oprah's show, who built the Art Institute in Chicago, came, and we awarded her. It was huge.
That's amazing.
It was huge. We were on High Point University's campus, right? The actual sculptor that made all of the sculpted pieces on the campus was there.
Wow.
John Harris, he came. We awarded him. It was crazy. It was just beautiful. It was crazy. I love it.
When we got rappers like Jay-Z and these guys talking about Basquiat and everything, these artists like them or whatever like that, they ain't really saying nothing. It's you who could really talk about some artists that you really know.
Absolutely. Well, they're talking about, when they talk art, they talk about a lot of artists who have passed away, and their art have been circulated through millionaires. And they have different auctions, and but it's a millionaire thing. But at the end of the day, I mean, who wants to die to be famous? Like, let's acknowledge these people that's working every day. People that don't come outside because they're working so hard, and this stuff is like incredible. This stuff is incredible. I remember actually seeing. It's a lady. You ever seen that movie that Nicolas Cage made about it had the bullets, where he sold guns?
Yeah.
To different countries. Well, it's a lady. Her name, what is her name? Dina. Well, anyway, her husband is the real guy that they made the story about, and they have this doggone
the Lord of War.
Yes. Denise Rich is her name. She has credit on like New Kids on the Block and all kinds of songs. She's a songwriter, but her husband was the guy who was actually selling guns to different countries. So in her house, which is on Fifth Ave in that park, right, Central Park, she has like 3 levels of this building. And when you go in there, one level had an office in it, and other levels had, her living spaces, but it was Basquiat's and everything on. I mean, you name it. She had the art on the wall. She had the art, and she would tell us, she was like, that piece right there, that piece is $2 million. And we're looking at it like, what is that? You couldn't even figure it out, some of it, you know? But it was just the fact of somebody gave it value. Somebody gave it value. And I looked up value. What is value? Value is man-made.
Mm-hmm.
Value is man-made.
Right.
Value is based on the demand of something, based on how many people want it. But it really don't have to have any kind of significant meaning. So I said, well, if that's the case, why can't we put value on things? Why we gotta let somebody else tell us what's valuable?
Well, I can tell you what is valuable as we near that, because we got like 5 minutes left and everything. But I'm gonna tell you what is valuable. I now know that Rasheen Kilo Pugh is valuable and everything, because I'm gonna tell you, any brother that can pull himself up out of Newark and everything, where it's easy to become a statistic. You can come out of Newark and you could become a Grammy Award songwriter and producer and everything of that nature, and then you put together an award show for top-selling artists all throughout the world.
Which is fabulous. Simply fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah.
There's value in that right there. I tell you that much.
Oh man, thank you. Yes, it is value, and we need more people down with it, making it happen. Because these kids need motivation. They need it.
So real quick, what's the name of the movie that you got? It's called It Takes A Village.
It Takes A Village. You can go to SaveTheArtsFilms.com, and you'll see the trailer for It Takes A Village. You'll see a couple music videos. We put out 3 different music videos to songs that were actually in the movie, and we will be releasing a soundtrack soon as well.
Right. Yeah. And Donna, you have some footage on thebigchat.com with
Yeah. I had the pleasure of sitting down and talking with him and Morgan, which was awesome. So you guys definitely go ahead and check that out on thebigchat.com. That's with 2 G's. Check it out. And it was and also too, I had the pleasure of doing the red carpet, so I got to talk to some folks about the movie as well, and I had a blast. It was awesome, so you'll see that up there as well.
That's what's up. Hey, Rasheen, how can people follow you? Are you on social network and anything that people can follow you on?
On Facebook, Rasheen Kilo Pugh. I accept all friends. I like to see what people are doing out here and allow them to see what I'm doing.
You got an Instagram where people can see that Bentley flying down the street?
Actually, you know what? I'm late on Instagram. I can't get it together, man. I can't get Twitter together. And that's probably because I'm just working, so I'm really just a Facebook guy right now. So, and I gotta do better. But at the same time, check out SaveTheArtsAwards.com as well as Save the Arts Film.
That's what's up. Hey, man, we appreciate you calling in and joining us tonight on the Kicking It with Donna and Ro show.
All right.
Hey, definitely remain a friend. Stick around and anything with us. We got some great things going on at thebigchat.com and stillmagonline.com. And we'll be in touch. And you want to say anything before we go?
Well, y'all, thanks for having me. And live in color. Everybody out there, live in color.
That's what's up.
And you got to come back. You
know I will. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Peace.
And that's what it is, man. That's what it is. That guy, you know what I'm saying? Rasheen, how did I say Raphael? Rasheen Kilo Pugh. That's who he is.